Welcome to Ask Pastor John. The way this works is that I'm being given questions that I've not seen before, and I try to do my best to put some biblical answers to them. So we'll see what we can do. Or answers that are just true, even if the questions lead me to someplace other than biblical content. We'll see. I'd like to start by asking you about the dedication page in your book. I imagine most of the audience has not seen a book dedicated to a man who has been dead for thousands of years. You dedicate Spectacular Sins to Joseph, quote, Joseph, whose life of suffering and salvation said, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Why is this a fitting dedication for the book? The book is about taking spectacular sins and seeing how they are used by God, ordained by God, to bring glory to His Son. One of the clearest stories in the Bible that most people who are biblically literate know about is the story of Joseph. And the sin that I have in mind with Joseph is his brothers sold him into slavery after they almost killed him, lied to his father about what they did, created the impression in his father that he was dead and eaten by an animal, and were gleefully cavalier about the destruction of his life. And all the while, the Bible says, God was sending him to Egypt. And 13 years later, the point of the story emerges after poor Joseph has been mistreated by the slaveholders, lied about by Potiphar's wife, refused to be remembered by the baker or the butler who didn't remember him when he was sent back to the king, and his life was miserable for all those years. All the while he was being loved by God, used by God for the rescue of the people of God. So Joseph probably more extensively in the Bible than any other character is one who is, the story about him is to make the point, you brothers meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. Now that's what this book is about. And the key there is you meant, and it doesn't say God used. It says you meant it for evil and God meant it for good, which means God had a meaning in your meaning, and through your action, God had an action. And the book is about how God ordains and causes sin to have a certain redeeming effect. And so Joseph becomes kind of the paradigm in the Bible for what the whole book is about, and that's why I think it's a helpful dedication.